Hello everybody, and welcome to my first collections video. In this one, it's just going to be, well, a crash course on record collecting, which is something I really like to do. When it comes to record collecting, there are two kinds of collectors, at least in my opinion. The first kind of collector is going to be the person who is going to look for the best of the best quality as far as what that record looks like, either new or used. Also, too, if it has any value and is going to retain any maximum value. Plus, as far as I know with these folks, they don't listen to their records much. Or if you're like me and you really just want the music so you have something to listen to, then this is probably more of what you're going to do. As for myself, I have a collection of probably over 150 records, to be honest with you. It's one of those things I enjoy, but I have my own little parameters on what I do as far as what records I get. And I'll probably talk about that later in the video. But enough of talking about that, let's get right into the first thing you're going to need, and that is your equipment. Alright, now when it comes to your equipment, the most obvious thing is going to be your turntable, like we got right over here. But also, you're also going to need things to keep not only your records, but your needle clean. We'll get to that in a moment, but let's talk about more on turntables. Now, turntables come in all sizes, kinds, big speakers, small speakers. Let's just talk about the basics. Some of these smaller ones, too, also come with USB ports. So if you would like to actually record your records onto your computer and then use them for your own personal use, then there you go. That might be an option for you as well. And let me show you the most important thing on this. And you may find this silly, but it is the most important thing. Is right underneath the belly, or where it will be located, is your model number. You need to know this, because if you need to replace parts, especially your needle, you're gonna need to know that. Let's take a look on the inside. You've got this plate right here for spinning the record. You have your needle for playing the record. What I want to bring up on this is how you get this thing to go. So, you turn this baby on. Should spin, right? Don't know what's going on. Bring that needle over, not doing a thing. When I first got this, this is the problem I ran into. I ran into this, and I spent about 10 minutes trying to figure out why wouldn't this work. I'm going to show you. We'll go back here. There you go. You bring it back a little bit, starts the turntable, then you can go do your thing. You want it to stop, bring that needle all the way over, wait for the click, bring her back down. Very simple. It's very important that if you get a brand new system, read the instructions, keep the instructions. Make sure you know how this thing works in and out as much as possible. If you get a used system, make sure, again, that you know what the make and model is, because you might be able to get online and get those instructions in a PDF form. That way you know what the heck you're doing. If you can't get that, find somebody who does. Find somebody who repairs these things. Tell them what it is. They might be able to tell you. Because worst case scenario on a used system, you may find out from that person, well, it should be working this way. It's not. You might have a busted system. Also, this is very self-explanatory. I shouldn't have to tell this, but there's going to be some dumb people out there, and they're not going to know what this is. This is going to help you play your 45s, the little tiny single records. You're going to put this in the center. You're going to put your record down on that, and that's going to help the thing spin. So, let me explain a few things here. First, the paintbrush. Very cheap, very simple. What is this used for? Cleaning the needle. And here's how you do it. If you notice, we have a little dust on the needle. So here's what you do. You just take this very gentle, don't press. You're just going to pull it off. And wow, I'm very surprised that came off easy. Sometimes it doesn't. But you want to go this way. You don't want to go into the needle. What will happen if you do that? You could damage it. That is not what you want to do. So you want to go this way. Sometimes you can go side by side. Sometimes I've done that. I haven't damaged my needle, but you always want to go this way, under the belly. To maintain the needle and also your records, you are going to want to clean the records every time you play them. I know that sounds tedious. And this guy's going to do it. There's also other ways. There's also other devices, but I like this one. Very cheap, very simple. I paid $15. This isn't bad. And let me show you how to properly do this. So, you're going to get your record out. You're going to place it, and this is only according to the system that I'm using. Others, there's devices where you're going to place it straight up, blah, 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 but we're not talking about that right now. This arrow is very important. You want to make sure that that arrow is pointing in the direction of where you're going to have this. So, you're going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drops. And then you're going to run the bottle all across that so you have that there. And then you're going to hold this. You're going to have this like that. And then you're just going to very lightly, you don't want to press down with this. It's very important. Do not press. You're just going to lay it on there. And then you're just going to move it. And I don't know if she's going to get any of this, but if you notice, you'll see a little streaks from the solution. That is going to help pull all that dirt out. And you're going to do this about 3 times. 3 rotations. So once you get through all those rotations, that gets all the dirt off. And then, to maintain the brush, comes with this little guy. And then all you're going to do is you're going to go in the opposite direction, and you're just going to make sure you get all that debris and stuff off. That's it. Alright, now, with that being said, let's talk about getting those records. Alright, now you got your equipment, it's time to talk about getting those records. And I thought I'd take this time to kind of talk about new and used records. Both are great, both are wonderful, but both have their pros and their cons. So let's take a look at some records from my collection and kind of talk about those pros and cons to kind of give you a feel on what would you like more in your collection. So let's start off with brand new records. Here's Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. This one I spent about maybe like 20-25 bucks on. The great thing about new records, you don't have to worry about scratches. The other great thing is sometimes they come with really good perks. It can be anything from a colored record onto, it could even come with a promo code. So you can download that album onto your computer and be able to listen to it anywhere, not just from your home. Now, with that out of the way, let's talk about used. Now, used are going to be a lot cheaper. I'm going to say that right off the bat, and that's why most of my collection is used records. But when you're looking for used records, make sure, and I can't stress this enough because I've done it myself, make sure when you're looking at used records that you pull that record all the way out and make sure you check the front and back, just to make sure that you are aware of all the scratches that are on that thing. And also, too, the nice thing about the used records in themselves is you're going to spend very little money, and if it's scratched up and it's not going to play well, you ain't going to lose any money. You're not going to lose sleep over it. So let's take a look at this one first. Here's Southside Johnny and the Ashbury Dukes. So this one I got about $5 at the record store Mike's Music Mind in Pittsburgh. Great little album. I love this band. Little scratched up, but not by much. At Mike's, they're pretty good, and a lot of these places, and more stores we'll talk about later, they take a good look at these records to make sure that you're paying for the quality, and $5 wasn't bad for this record. Now, going on down the line, this guy got over about maybe like $2 or $3. This is Harry Belafonte. This is a live concert record. This is a wonderful one. If you ever get a chance to listen to this, please do. Now, I'm glad I spent about $2 to $3 on this because the records are scratched. You do hear lots of snaps and pops, but I like snaps and pops, so that's not a huge big deal for me. There's also, surprisingly, no skips. So this was definitely worth the buy. Now, here is Goodbye Yellow Brick Road by Elton John. This one I got for $1. And there's a reason why this one was $1. Number one, this one does have a lot of scratches on it. But again, snaps and cracks. I think there's one part where it does skip, but that's it. The other reason why this was $1 is this record, I've seen this at a lot of stores. This one gets put on the shelf quite often, and this is where you can really benefit from a cheap price, is if you know that this record is one that a lot of the stores are going to carry. They'll mark this down for $1 just to get rid of it. Now, let's take a look at a really shitty record. The Ventures knock me out. Now, it's not shitty because it's a bad record. I love the Ventures. These guys are great. No, if you notice the quality, we've got tape, we've got tears, we got somebody's name on this thing. And I'll tell you what, if you think the outside looks bad, the record looks just as bad, if not worse. This thing skips quite a bit. Not one of my favorite records, but I keep it because if I see another one of better quality, I'm picking it up. So, yeah, that's pretty much it on what to look at on the pros and cons of new and used. Now, let's talk about where are you going to get these guys. When it comes to finding stores, there's a plethora of them, and I'm going to give you my list of the best all the way going down to the risky ones. Starting at the top, you're going to be looking at record stores and used media stores. These are going to be great and wonderful because a lot of these places are going to have new and used, and you can do price comparisons, and the quality of these records, used-wise, are going to be great. Also, too, bookstores like Barnes & Noble have also been supplying new records, so definitely keep out for those. Now, going on down, if you're looking more for used, definitely look at the antique stores, more specifically antique malls. The reason why I say this is that antique stores is kind of a hit and miss with just stores, but if you can get to the malls, that is a better chance because multiple vendors in one area, so you may find 2, 3, who knows how many vendors who do have records on hand, where the stores maybe not so much so. Now, let's go ahead and get to the risky one, and that is thrift stores. Let's go back to that Ventures record. You want to know where I got that at? I got that at Goodwill for $1. Maybe it was 50 cents. I don't even remember. All I know is that that was crappy, but I took a risk on that. At the thrift stores, you are going to be taking a risk that you may find a record you want and find out it is scratched all to hell. So keep that in mind. However, don't be afraid to gamble on a record that may look like it's scratched up because you may be surprised. You may just get snaps and cracks, no skips or very little skips, and you might be happy with that purchase. And sometimes you can find some really rare ones in really good condition, which has happened to me in the past. Plus, you're not spending an arm and a leg at a thrift store, so you'll be fine on that. Now, since we're done talking about the stores, let's look at some records from my collection just to show you exactly what kind of gems you could get while you're trying to find records. Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun for me, guys, because I love my collection. I love what I've been able to get over the years. I'm going to share some of this with you so you guys can get an idea of some of the awesome stuff you'll be able to find in your searches. First up, Steely Dan's Aja. This is one of my favorites, mostly because you can listen to this record like Dark Side of the Moon. The music is very memorable, it's a lot of fun. You can just lay in bed and just listen to this the whole time and just feel relaxed. Alright, now this one, I actually got this record from a service, and kind of apologize I didn't say this earlier. I got this from a service online called Vinyl. What Vinyl is, it's a subscription where they will send you 3 records every month, and they curate it, so you really don't know exactly what you're getting. It's wonderful, but these guys, I love the Explorers Club. They're wonderful. They sound a lot like the Beach Boys. I think that's why I like this group, is they have that Beach Boys feel. You can always find some cool records. Here is Judas Priest. This is Painkiller on this is a buzzsaw shaped record. This is freaking awesome. I love this thing. I remember the day I picked it up and I put this thing in. I just mesmerized by just watching it just spin around. Oh, it's so great. Now here's one talking about going to the thrift stores and finding some gems that maybe aren't of the best quality. Here is Bad Out of Hell. I was surprised I found this at Goodwill. Got this for a couple bucks. And the great, wonderful problem with this record is it does have a couple skips. And especially in some songs I really, really like. But yeah, it's stuff like this that you'll definitely be finding on your searches. And you'll flip out and be willing to spend the money to get them. Now, You guys probably don't know what this is if you don't know Pink Floyd. This is Pink Floyd's The Wall. And let's open this baby up. I got this actually at an antique store. Very nice one down in Cape May. I was stoked to find this. I keep wanting to say this is an original pressing. I don't think this is the remaster. I don't know. I've done research. All I know is I love having this in my collection. Great, great album. Great, great movie. If you haven't seen it, haven't listened to it, please do. Now here is a rare one. And like I said, you'll find things like this. This is Styx. A Serpent is Rising. Now, if you're a little familiar with Styx, you may not be familiar with this album. I'm going to tell you why. This was one of their early ones. And there's a reason why I wanted this album. There is a song on here called Do Not Sit Down on the Plexiglass Toilet. I'm not kidding you. It is a song on this record. It cracks me up every time I hear this song. It is catchy. It gets in your head. This is the only reason why I bought this record. And I think I spent like $12 on this guy just to get this one song. I'm guilty to say I have this record and I love it. This is Eddie Murphy's How Could It Be? Do you remember the song Party All the Time?
But my girl wants to party all the time, party all the time, party all the time.
I rather like that song, but I love this album, and I'm glad I have this in my collection because this is a hard one to come by. This album itself did not do well. So it's great to have this in the collection. To be honest, I do like this one. It's not too bad. Here's something you may bump into in your travels. Take a look at this. Loaned for promotional use only. This was a promotion record. And I was really glad to get this, and I'm so glad it's the time. Or as Jay likes to say, the motherfucking time.
I wanna know ya, yeah, what?
What the hell are you singing?
You don't know Jungle Love? That shit is the Mad Notes, written by God herself and handed down to the greatest band in the world. The motherfucking time!
But yeah, I wanted this because I love the song Jungle Love by The Time. It's not on here, but I love that song by The Time, and their music is great. Definitely check out The Time. Another great gem. Michael Jackson's Thriller. I cannot remember how much I paid for this, but I did not pay much for it at all. It does have a little bit of wear and tear on it. The wonderful thing is it doesn't skip. I'm going to say probably spent $6-8 on this one. I am surprised this was not higher in price. And I got it at an antique mall. I mean, this is wonderful. I have the 25th anniversary on CD. Now I have an original pressing. That's just tickles me pink. The E.T. soundtrack. Now, I got this at Goodwill, a thrift store. The one that I just told you that you're going to take a risk on. I saw this. Had its original plastic on it. I hate having original plastic on my record, so I took it off. But I was very skeptical. I thought, I'm going to take a look at this. This is almost practically in mint condition. I mean, little wear and tear here on the sleeve, but the record is in great condition. Sounds wonderful when I play it. I love the movie. I love anything by John Williams. I'm so happy to have this in my collection. Alright, let's take a look at a remaster. Here is, well, I guess not a remaster, but it's a reprint of the Labyrinth soundtrack with David Bowie. And I don't have to say much about this one other than I love this movie. I love the music, and I'm glad I have it on record. I have it on CD, too. The great thing about this one, though, I got this on sale. The website I got it from, they had it down to $14.99, originally at $19.99. So I saved about $5. Not bad. Here's a rare one, and it actually plays pretty good even though it looks a little rough. Mary Poppins, the original soundtrack, the original pressing soundtrack. I was surprised I got this for the price I did. I think I spent maybe a little over $10. The records aren't in bad condition, a little scratched up, but no big deal. This is great, wonderful. I actually, when I played this again, I forgot how much I love this movie. The Wiz. I always liked this movie as a kid. I always wanted the soundtrack. At one time, I was actually trying to find the soundtrack, in libraries, in stores. Every time I would try to get this album, the problem was disc 1 would always be gone. Don't ask me why, and this is why I'm bringing this up, because I found a copy of this about a year before I got this one. I wanted it. I looked. Record 1 was missing. Every time I look for this, somebody swipes the disc or record 1. I don't understand why. I don't know if this is a coincidence. Regardless, I'm glad I got this. Got this for $4.99 at Goodwill. Good condition. Couple scratches, no big deal. Glad I have this. Glad it's got all the discs. Now, going back to thrift stores, it is very surprising some of the things you'll find. Cheech and Chong's very first album. Found this in very good condition at Goodwill. And I got this on sale. I think they wanted it for $2. I think I got it for 50 cents. Not a bad find at all. Not a bad find. This I was surprised to find. This is a BBC record of Monty Python's Flying Circus. I don't even know if they released this in America. They very well could have. I don't know. But very good to have with my other Python records. God bless Tiny Tim. This was Tiny Tim's first record, and if you do not know who Tiny Tim is, just look up on YouTube Tiptoe Through the Tulips by Tiny Tim, and you will wonder what the hell. Also, too, if you remember the first episode of SpongeBob, Tiny Tim is actually featured doing a song for that album. It's actually, or sorry, for that episode, and is on from this album. Very surprised I found this. Little beat up. Does play very well though. I just kind of a little guilty pleasure this one, but I'm glad that I have it. If you're looking for somebody in comedy who is wonderful combining comedy with classical music, you can't go any further than Victor Borge. Victor, this guy was amazing. As a matter of fact, he was a guest on The Muppet Show. And that's how I learned about this guy. He is fantastic. He does crazy shit with classical music you would not believe. One of my favorite skits is he does a version of, I think it's the William Tell Overture. And it's hysterical. Definitely check this guy out. So let's go to the small box very, very quickly. Now, something I did forget to mention is there are different sizes of records. The ones that we're going to look at, if I remember right, these are the 45s. These are the singles. My box. Isn't it beautiful? And it's very antique, very old, but I'm having fun with it. A lot of these I got from antique stores, but this one I was surprised to get at Goodwill. We Are the World. This, I'm very surprised, is in its original envelope, and it's in great condition. It's in wonderful condition. I just going to look at it. Yeah, it's just beautiful. The next one I'm going to show you guys. Do you remember Will Smith when he used to be the Fresh Prince? I do. And this was one of 2 records I found at an antique mall. This is Nightmare on My Street. This was his song about Nightmare on Elm Street, which is really, really cool. And if I remember this one, this has both the single version and the instrumentals for it. Not a lot of people realize that Prince did a little more for the 1989 Batman movie than just the one song that they feature the Joker in where he's in the parade. This is the single record. This has the Bat Dance, which is nothing really to, like, you know. But does have the song, the whole song, from the parade scene. And it's just tickled me pink. I listened to the Bat Dance first. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so stupid. Listened to the other side and went, oh, it's the song for the parade. I love it, I love it. Ah! Okay. And last but not least, Dire Straits' Money for Nothing. Again, very surprised to find a record in its original envelope, but very surprised to find this particular song for $4. And again, antique mall. Not bad at all. The quality of it is just terrific. Alright, that's about it for this video, guys. Thank you so very much for watching. And if you want to see more videos like this, please hit subscribe. Make sure you have those notifications on so you can see when I post. And if you want to check me out on the Twitterverse, I got a Twitter. Just check out the link down below. And I want to shout out to my director and video person on this, which is Ashley Fox. I thank her so very much for taking the time to do this for me. And her YouTube channel will also be linked down below. Please check her out. Her vlogs are just very, very, sometimes crazy, sometimes cool. You don't know what you get with her sometimes. Please check her out. Other than that, take care, and I'll see you next time.